Hey YouTube, Saturday the 8th of December. It's looking like December, looking like we're headed into Christmas. But again, another day of no sun. Okay, so I was working on this thing this morning. And just for my own record, if nothing else, there was a pulley on this shaft with a nut. I took the nut off and then I was able to drive the pulley off. It wasn't real hard, but it was on there pretty good. And then underneath the pulley was a Woodruff key. I think it's a number 9. I gotta check it. And there's some kind of a sleeve here or a spacer. Either way, that came off there. Then I took 2 bolts out of those, 3 bolts out. Oh no, wait a second. Yeah, 3 bolts that go into this housing for the bevel gearbox. Now I'm not sure of how this thing separates. It seems like the whole tractor has to come apart, which is, you know, kind of stupid, but anyway, it is what it is. I'm not sure of how, I'm not really sure right now at the moment of what holds the front of the tractor to the back of the tractor once you take these bolts off, but I'm sure there's got to be some kind of bolts in the front of that bevel gear somewhere. So we're going to look for that in a minute. Now you can see the shaft is moving up and down there pretty much, so that bearing on that side has got to be shot, and the one on this side is probably not a whole lot better. And I think that that movement caused the gear to come away from what would kind of be like a pinion gear, I suppose. But either way, I need to get this out of here. I'm not sure of how it comes out just yet. There is a snap ring of some sort against the gear there, but at this point it's going to be pretty tough to reach it. So there's also some kind of a big pin down on the bottom there that I took a cotter key out of it, and it seems like it's loose, but I'm not sure at this point of exactly how to get it out of there. But we're working on it. I just want to get some good pictures here of what took place. I took these 2 lines off that run to here. So anyway, so far so good. So just so I don't forget how this goes, this emergency brake or parking brake thing goes through there's a bolt that runs through this shaft. But the weird part, or the part that I would probably forget, is that this spring down here actually hooked on to this. So nothing to really show me that, but now that it's on video, I should be okay with it. I think I'm going to start disconnecting the rest of the things that go from the front to the back end here so that I can pull this away somehow. I'm not sure how to get this shaft, if this shaft has to come out of here first or what. I would imagine either that or one of these plates are going to have to be taken off the whole side of the tractor to get this by here. Not exactly the best way of doing something. Time to smell the roses. Looks like we got some sun. Wow, there's even a shadow. I'm gonna go check the fire on the house up there. It's only 18 degrees out. I thought it was warmer than that. I just checked the thermometer. So it is pretty cold today. But at least we're getting some sun now. What the heck? Those are deer tracks. There's 2 sets of deer tracks there from last night, I guess. Another one there. Huh. Alright guys, well, you can see I got 2 tractors now, or 2 halves I should say. So in order to get that bevel gearbox out of there, the tractor had to be basically split in 2. The gearbox is out, but I'm not sure if I have to take it apart any further to get it back together. I'll have to check it out. But at least I know that the bearing was gone on the one side shaft on the left side there, or the passenger side, I guess you could say. So got it all apart. I got to clean this up, and I got to clean all the parts. I think the worst thing about working on this stuff that you're not familiar with is that it's so covered with dirt over the years and grease that you can't actually find the nuts and stuff that you need to take out of here. But anyway, I managed to get it apart. I didn't do anything else today but work on this because of how cold it was outside. It's around 16 now, I guess. It was 18 a little bit ago. It just got dark. So I closed up the chickens and took Bullseye for a little run. And now we're finished with this finally. It looks like you can see that on the shaft here. Let me just pick it up. On the shaft, this is the race to a bearing, and you can see that it's shot. It's all apart. There's nothing left to it. This is the outer race here. The ball bearings were completely gone. They're chewed up in the middle of the rag that I have up here. So anyway, now it's to find parts. So when I finish taking this gearbox apart here, I don't think that the pinion part of it needs anything, and I'm not sure about this. Although it looks pretty good, the gear looks good, so maybe I won't need to replace that. Okay, where was I? My neighbor had just pulled in. I saw his lights because it's dark out already, and he locked himself out of his hunting camp. And I had a key. I drove over there and unlocked it so I could keep the key because it was on my ring, and my hands were so cold I couldn't get the key off. So anyway, yeah, this gear looks good to me. I'm not sure about the seal part of it here. Now I could brush that up on the lathe probably. It doesn't look like it's chewed up. It looks like it was heated though a little bit. I'll have to check that out for fit. I think it'll be alright. But this bearing needs to be replaced. And then there's a needle bearing in there and a seal. That actually looks good yet, and it fits the shaft good. I used that brass drip pin to drive this out. This thing is a pretty weird setup here. If you can't get that pin out of there, what you have to do is take this whole side plate here off in order to get this box out of here. So I'm not even sure if you have to take the plate off yet to be able to put this back together. I'm hoping not. I don't think you do, but so anyway, I need to get the seal, the bearing for this side here, the seal, the bearing, and like I say, that gear in there looks pretty good to me. I might buy 2 gears just to keep and see how they look when they're brand new. Oops. And I also need to I'll put this shaft in the lathe, and I'll polish it. It has a couple marks on it, but nothing major. I think it'll be fine. Just needs to be cleaned up. And I need a new woodruff key. The one key that was in here. You think that thing would fall out of here? Normally they fall out. I had to beat the daylights out of it to get it out. I practically split it in 2, so a couple marks here when I was trying to get these clips out of here. Anyway, yeah, so I want to get everything, all the bearings and stuff, and we'll see what these gears come to. Like I say, I don't think that, oh boy, I can't hold nothing with one hand. I don't think that this Oh, yeah, that's not feeling too good. We're going to have to get a bearing for that. Alright, so I'll get a bearing for that as well. May as well just rebuild the whole thing and get it over with. Alright guys, well, that's it for today. Yeah, I'm going to clean this thing off somehow too. See if I can't power wash it on a... I don't know, I could probably power wash it outside. Well, it's pretty cold. I could power wash it in here. I'm going to just get some sprayer to spray on here and let it clean up, and then I can just clean it off the floor, whatever falls down. I'll let you know when I get the parts and what it costs and stuff like that. I was asked if I ever did any kind of basement walls or full basements. This is probably the last, I think this was the last basement I ever built. So you can see these are prefab walls. They're a styrofoam outside, concrete layer on the outside of that, and they bolt together. Let me see if I can get these pictures to work here. Yeah, so you can see how the basement was dug, and then the stone was put down, and there's lines there. I don't know if you can see the red lines, but there were lines put in so that you could put walls, you know, perfectly where you wanted them. And this particular basement had a good drainage system around it so that there wouldn't be any water coming into the basement because of how high this back wall is against the house. The ground is sloping down this direction that I'm showing you, and you know, you run the risk of water being trapped behind it, so there was a lot of pipe put back here so that the water would be able to run out. So this is setting the first wall. There you go. And you can see the crane up there was setting the walls. Holding the walls in place, getting them set exactly. And just see if I can get some more of these pictures up here. It's a wall that has a window in it. You can see it's late in the year here when this was being done. I don't really like doing stuff, especially this type of work, this late. These walls are caulked. There's a caulking you put between the basement walls, and this was being done by a sub. I didn't do this. These are superior walls. I don't like them. Personally, I wouldn't use them. But I used them for this guy that wanted this house built. This is all in one day, so the basement basically was put together in one day. I'm just waiting for this to load. So there you go. This is, I think this house was 30 by 30 if I'm not mistaken. And then off to one side there was a garage over in here that attached to this. So then what has to happen here is this has to be graded off inside, and they recommend you put the first floor down and then pour this slab. To me that's working backwards, but you know, that's nonetheless, that's how they recommended it in order to keep this thing square. The walls did prove to do what they said they would do. I mean, it did work out pretty nicely. But like I say, I'm not too crazy about them. And this part over here on this side here, this is the house, and then this is the garage. And this had to be filled in, so that was kind of tedious because you have to put fill on one side, fill on the other side, and then be compacting these to evenly keep these walls straight. When they did that, again, there was a subcontractor doing this. They had bent one of these walls. They had pushed the wall out because on the opposite side of this, it drops down really fast, and it went from, like, you know, maybe this height down 5 feet in less than 5 feet. So it was really too low, or too much of an angle, and too much dirt in here was pushing on it. So they had some problems with it. They had to come back and fix that. That's one of the reasons I don't like superior walls. Now you can do the same thing here. If I go back, just hold on a second. Now, eliminating the superior walls. If you have your grade figured out like this, you can easily put a form board along here, and you can actually pour the whole basement slab at one time. It can be the footer and the slab all together. Or if you want to, you can pour the footer and then come back and do the slab. For me, I would pour the footer and the slab all in one shot. There's less chance of that floor leaking any water into it, especially with keeping stone on the outside. Now, what I don't like about this is, you notice this kind of stone they're using here? This stone has dirt mixed with it. So I don't like this. This shouldn't be like that. This should have been a clean stone. But nonetheless, you want, you know, modified in here to be out there, and people don't want to do that. They want to just do one thing. So this part of this building project was the homeowners was supposed to do the stone work. That was the agreement, and I would oversee putting the walls down. The walls went down and they were okay, you know, except for the backfilling of it, which the guy with the machine doing the backfilling was a little too quick in what he wanted to do. But I would just form this out and pour the entire thing, rebar it or put mesh in it and pour everything, and then just build either 12-inch block walls or pour concrete walls on top of that. This is a picture of that house with the superior walls underneath it after we were done framing the house and the roof is going on there. This is what I was saying about how steep this bank was here. The guy ended up buying more fill. What he was trying to do was get away without putting any fill in here. By rights, this fill should have came out here and then drifted off. But because he had this door so close here, you couldn't really get it to drift off. There should have been a wing wall out here. But, you know, sometimes you do things. This was the last house I did. I was actually helping a neighbor to get it done. I did siding, roofing, electrical, and stuff like that. But he more or less had the other things figured out in his head. But the guy was, instead of being a contractor, he was an accountant. So he didn't do too much accounting when it came to the house here. This is just a picture. When you use superior walls, you end up having to form. They leave a little opening here for the door, but you end up having to form it and re-pour it to get the door to sit on, you know, at the floor level. So that's something that had to be redone. I never cared for those walls. I just think that they're more of a nuisance because of all the other little things you have to do with them. This is a very old picture of a picture. It was, I don't remember when it was. This is my uncle here. He's since passed, but they were putting sanitary sewer in here. And what's going on here, you can see the track hoe in the back there. They're digging a trench for a forced sewer main that they're using ductile iron to build it, but they're encasing it as concrete because it's about to go under a river. The river's a little behind the track. And here's a picture of one of the developments, and the township people are talking about something, I don't know what, but anyway, this is, you can see there's a water line exposed there. We were putting sanitary sewer in a very sandy area, and it had collapsed away from the water main. These are old pictures. This is a piece of ductile iron pipe that was installed. Like I say, it's heading down to the stream, and it's up off the ground there because it's going to be encased in concrete. This was done during the winter time, and it was pretty wet because we're so close to the stream. Now you can see that the stream is in the background here, and the stream normally came to about this area, and what's happening is we're making a filter for the stream to run over these stones to filter the water so we don't get so much mud in it as we're crossing this with the pipeline. So we'll go halfway across the stream with this, divert the stream, pull pipe over there, backfill the pipe, divert the stream back to where it originally was, and just continue. This is for a housing development I was building.